If there's one thing to take away from the show, it is never mess with a helicopter parent. Ever. Big Little Lies. So Big Little Lies is a miniseries that aired on HBO earlier this year, and it centers on three characters played by Reese Witherspoon, Nicole Kidman, and Shailene Woodley. And those three ladies in the show are mothers of first graders. Their kids all go to the same school in this kind of preppy, elite type of town in Monterey Bay, California. It's very high class. It feels kind of elite, like a little bit better than everybody else. And having just finished the show Gossip Girl, I was worried this show would get a little bit soap opera-y the way that Gossip Girl did kind of throughout. But luckily, that did not happen. This show stayed realistic. It stayed chillingly unnerving, and it stayed intense throughout its entire run. See, this show focuses on those three moms of the first graders, and it kind of explores their social lives, how they interact with their kids, how they interact with their spouses or their ex-spouses, what's going on with them, and kind of how their lives tie together. And by the end of the show, there's a dead body. So somebody is dead, there's that mystery kind of running throughout the entire show, and you kind of consider throughout the entire thing how these characters' average lives kind of come together to wind up with somebody dying at the end of the show. But the thing about the show is that it isn't focused on, oh, how'd they die, or like who's dead, or like what's going on, and how we're gonna get to this family. The entire show is focused on the social commentary that you don't really know what's going on in somebody else's family, for better or for worse. For example, I thought that Reese Witherspoon in the show was so good because she was trying so perfectly to have just the perfect family with her perfect 15-year-old daughter and her perfect first grade daughter. But that didn't happen because both of her kids were kind of doing their own things. The teenage daughter especially who didn't want to live with her. She wanted to live with her father because Reese Witherspoon and the father character are separated in the show. Reese Witherspoon is also very jealous of the ex-husband's new girlfriend played by Zoe Kravitz, and it's a very interesting dynamic because even though she wants to seem so perfect on the surface, she's just not, and that's really, really fascinating to see because you know people with those same conflicts that you so badly want to appear as something, but in reality you're the exact opposite. Nicole Kidman gives such a subdued and powerful performance in this movie, whereas Reese Witherspoon is the soccer mom who's trying to like cheer on her kids all the way, super peppy, positive. Nicole Kidman is tortured, but powerful. You really feel in her eyes she is going through a lot at home at that exact moment. Her husband in the show is played by Alexander Skarsgard. He gives a great performance as well. There was one scene involving the two of them and a doctor, and that scene went on for I think like 5 minutes. I could have gone for like 40 minutes of just that scene because the tension in the room was so thick. It felt like it was just so emotionally draining, but it felt like it was so great for the context of the show that it was in. Shailene Woodley plays the other mom in the show, and she was good. She didn't have as big a role as the other two, but she had a son in the show who's accused of being a bully, and it was interesting because she also has a conflict where she knows her son isn't a bully, but she also wonders if he is because she doesn't know the father of the son. She's just like constantly questioning like, oh, does he take after his father because I know that his father could have been a horrible person, or like what's going on. Meanwhile, Laura Dern's character is accusing Shailene Woodley's son of being the bully, and Laura Dern just gives this a completely jerky performance as the mom who's trying so hard to defend her kid. That's completely unwarranted, and Shailene Woodley and her go back and forth so much. You feel like, again, you get so invested in these characters' lives, but it doesn't feel like it's done in a cheesy way. It feels like, oh, that's kind of like this person I know, or that's kind of like that person I know. That's kind of like my mom. That's kind of like what I would do in that situation. It's weird how you take characters that are supposed to be in this elite, preppy, upper-class lifestyle, but you still make them feel human. It still feels like conflicts that you would go through in your everyday life, or it still feels like how people would respond to situations. For example, there's an affair subplot that's kind of brought in at a point, and again, having just watched Gossip Girl, in Gossip Girl, there were characters who had affairs, but they didn't really care about it, and there was no like kind of problem with it. In this show, a character has an affair and feels horrible about it, like they've just completely devastated their partner and everything, and I really love seeing that because, again, that is how people would respond in real life. Or, uh-oh, there's another situation where there might be some domestic violence involved, and then you realize, oh, wait, that character's a jerk to that other character, but the character causing the domestic violence really feels bad about it afterwards. And you realize that, oh, not all monsters are monsters all the time. They're monsters sometimes, and then they can actually feel bad about what they did. But it's one of those things where the conflict is so executed in such a realistic, rich, and sociologically correct way. You feel like you're not watching characters being characters, but you're just watching real people, and that's something that I give the show props for. Jean-Marc Vallée, the guy who brought us Dallas Buyers Club and Wild, really did that super well in the show. He made everything feel realistic. He brought the words of Liane Moriarty's novel to life. He made these actors give such compelling performances. I guarantee that Nicole Kidman and Laura Dern can both win the Emmys for their performances this year. I really thought this show did such a great job leading you up to the mystery for the first 6.5 episodes and still making you care so deeply about what what was happening in these characters' lives. I give complete props to everybody who was involved in the show. I have so few problems with it, other than the fact I could kind of predict the twist that kind of came at the end of the show. It was one of those things where I kind of connected the dots, but I'm not that great at detective work when it comes to figuring out plots, but I was able to figure it, so that might be a slight problem. If I'm able to figure it out, maybe you are too. But besides that, guys, the absolute theme of you don't know what's going on in your neighbor's house makes me now kind of sit back in my chair and think a lot about how great this show was, what a great commentary it was on just American life. It's one of the best commentaries on American life I can remember since American Beauty, which I also love that movie to death, one of my top 10 of all time, actually. I think this is like the new American Beauty with even more compelling characters and an even more addicting watch. Be sure to check out Big Little Lies if you haven't already. I'm going to give it an A. But guys, those are just my thoughts on Big Little Lies. Be sure to leave yours in the comment section down below. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I am at John May. Go over to mymoviethoughts.com or subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links to all three of those are in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck. As always, thank you guys so much for watching.